Wotherspoon. Welcome to episode number 5 of the mobile Woodshed. This one's called Muddy in Warsaw. So I just got back from a month-long European tour. We spent a lot of time in Poland. We were in the Czech Republic and Slovakia, and it was an amazing time. I think I'm still getting over some jet lag, but I wanted to record this episode over there. I just really didn't have the time to sit down and plot it out and do it the way I wanted to do it. So it's not as mobile as it could have been, but here I am at home. This time I'm shooting this video inside because it's getting a little chilly here in northern Kentucky this time of year. But I've been looking forward to this one, and it just felt appropriate on account of we were in Poland and in Warsaw. We played Warsaw, I think, the 25th of last month. And I was thinking about how Muddy played Warsaw. It was in 1976, and they were actually there on October 22nd, so it just felt meaningful and would make sense to do an episode on that and take a glimpse into Muddy's playing at that show. So, it's a historic show. It is on YouTube. You can go watch it. Phenomenal band. And I know a few people that were at that show. One being my great friend Andre here. Here's his book. Andre is a huge reason we get to go over to Eastern Europe and play. He's a legendary guy, and this book is really worth checking out. It's all in Polish, but there's Google Translate, so it's worth your time. And another person I know that was there was actually on stage. The legendary Bob Margolin, and I reached out to Bob, and he was gracious enough to share some memories about the show, and here they are actually. So he says, I played in Poland a few times since I was there with Muddy. Poland was behind the Iron Curtain then. There were lines for everything, and there was a lot of public intoxication. I met an American journalist, and when we weren't playing, he took me around Warsaw, sometimes in the trolley, and showed me around. I was in the country 35 hours and didn't sleep. The audience was so hungry for American music, I wanted to give them everything I could. After, the journalist took me to some huge student union building where very proficient and progressive Polish jazz musicians were playing. I was so impressed. My memory of all this is so sharp because it was hyper intense, a peak experience for me. So very interesting, and thank you, Bob, for sharing that. It's absolutely incredible. Also, when I was there, Andre gave me a copy of this version of this magazine, and Bob has a great article on Muddy in this. So if you're able to obtain one of these, I highly recommend. Speaking of Andre, here was a gift he gave me. This is a vinyl of that show of Muddy in Poland. Pretty wild. There it is. And the roots to with American music run deep with Poland. You can start with how the Chess brothers were Polish immigrants. So without further ado, I guess let's get into playing. I do want to also say I never got to see Muddy play, unfortunately. I have had the opportunity to play with his sons, Big Bill Morganfield. I backed him up in Michigan, in East Tawas at a blues festival a few years ago, and my good friend Ben Levin and I backed up Mud Morganfield just a couple of years ago. And I did know Hubert Sumlin, who played with Muddy a bit, and I wanted to hold this up because I got to see this show a few years ago in Ohio at the Fur Piece Ranch. It's a huge poster, but Hubert and Bob were both on the bill, and Bob Stroger and Willie Big Eye Smith, all who played with Muddy. So it sounds name droppy. I just wanted to share it. They're great memories. So anyway, let's get into some guitar playing. I've got my Telly and my old Silvertone that my grandpa had gifted me when I was in junior high. It's still going on the same tubes somehow, and I've been using it for all the episodes. So Yeah, Muddy, on that show, I only noticed one slide solo. Maybe there were more cuts than there that are on the video on YouTube. Um, but it was on a tune called Howlin Wolf, or I Am a Howlin Wolf. And I'm not going to go full throttle today because I'm inside and Henry the Hound is downstairs. And if I get too loud, he might become a Howlin Wolf. So anyway, I'm capoed like Muddy at the 3rd fret because this tune is in G. And Muddy would play in open tunings, I believe, a lot of times, but here he was in standard tuning. And he was using, it looked like a thumb pick and a pick on his first finger. Usually when I'm doing this kind of thing, I'm just using my fingers. You know, as far as Muddy's playing when he's in standard tuning, this will mirror our episode, the first episode about Robert Nighthawk, as far as the map he's using, you know, and a lot is based up on this, you know, up the root note, G, this high octave here, there, and the 5th, D, and around there. And then there's a chromatic line of notes on that B string that take you back to G, once again a root note here. So it's like that L shape, and so much is based just improvising and sliding around that area. Another thing I noticed, he uses his palm here a lot to mute. Here my palm's getting worn out from that's a month of playing there. And he'll, you know, this moaning thing that where he's pivoting back and forth between the 5th, the D, and the 4th, C. Another motif is he'll often sort of almost punctuating or responding to other riffs land on this. So you have one thing over the years listening to Muddy, I've noticed if he solos over, you know, 2 times around, the first time around is usually, you know, just establishing the mood and playing pretty relaxed. And then on the second time around, he kicks it up a level, you know, dynamically and is more aggressive and in your face. So, all right, let's try it. So it's not verbatim, I can't do anything verbatim, but hopefully in the essence of what he's doing, and you can kind of see what riffs are falling over certain chords. So, you know, one other signature Muddy thing I've noticed, it's almost like he's doing his own call and response. It sounds like a conversation. You know, he'll have a line, and then another one sounds like it's talking back to the first line to me. You know, there's that. Or in those downward he's using his palm on his right hand to mute the string too, which gives it that some of that effect. And then on those turnarounds, yeah, he's hitting it's going pivoting back and forth between the fifth and the fourth, which in this case would be D and C. And as the solo intensifies, it just gets that much more emotional and manic. You know, his playing reminds me a lot of Nighthawks, and I'm still not sure what came first, but I think in contrast, Muddy's playing is, to me, a bit more raw and you know, pure spirit. It's very direct, and I love them both, but there's a bit of a contrast. So this is a travel-sized episode, obviously, and I hope that some of that helps you. And go check out Muddy in Warsaw on YouTube. It's beautiful stuff. I appreciate you guys supporting this channel and this series, and we'll see you down the road. Peace. Much love.